What is our scientific understanding of creation? Well, we can describe what we see. We can make predictions given what we describe. Do we understand creation? There's an awful lot we don't understand. And I would be hesitant as a scientist to say that we understand it all. There's been a great deal of research into what might have existed before our universe existed. When I was a young scientist, people were clear that that was an ill-posed question. There was no way to ever answer a question of what existed before us. But as you saw in these recent publications of structures, gravity wave structures in the early universe, that would have led us at least to begin to peer through the moment of the singularity into some pre-existing structure. And there are physicists and cosmologists who are working in that direction. Unfortunately, that gravity wave experiment has since been repudiated and is no longer accepted, but people are still looking for that. It's a really interesting question because if there's something before us, we might be able to answer something interesting about the how. But as of right now, we're still at the we don't know. We just know that we exist.
The Big Bang, about 14 billion years ago, we know that happened because of the cosmic radiation that we could still detect, from that event. The beginning of the cosmic order from the Big Bang event, and then the gradual evolution in the cosmic order of the planets. The scriptures tell us that God created all there is. The way that these two views complement each other is that believing in that the fact that God created all there is, God is the source and reason, the ground of being of all there is in the cosmic order, actually can go hand in hand with this evolutionary understanding of life and the cosmic order.
The Big Bang gives us insight into our relationship in the history of the physical universe. And for me, it has given me a wonderful sense of humility and scope, much like the book of Job, that I, while experiencing the fullness of the love of God, am a very small part of a very big picture. So the Big Bang challenges me to think of God as something so much bigger than any of the forces I usually think of in my life.
There are times when science can inform our theological understandings, and there are times when our theological conversation helps us to ask interesting and new scientific questions. If God created out of nothing, that would indicate that time has a beginning. If there was a state of existence in which time did not function, then outside of time we could call eternity. Christianity, theology, argues that eternity exists. You can write equations to imagine a universe that has at a higher dimensionality and eternity that is outside the flow of time. Actually, you end up with a whole class of cosmological universes, commonly called block, B-L-O-C-K universes. It's an interesting conversation to be had between theologians and cosmologists about that. And are there questions that we can ask about metaphysics that might be answered by considering one class of cosmological universe versus another?
Christian theology also evolves. So different theologians have talked about this topic based on our current understanding from science. Some would say that there is no conflict between what we have gleaned from the findings in science and our ultimate belief that God created everything. For instance, one theologian has said that God has given the world a free process, just as God has given humankind free choice.
Well, I live with three stories of creation. The two in Genesis, the first one that talks about creation on 6 days of the week and God resting on the seventh. The second story about Adam and Eve and what goes wrong in creation. And the third cosmic evolutionary story, the scientific story of creation. I don't see them as being in conflict. I see them telling us rather different things about how things have come to be, why we are in relationship with the other parts of creation, and what it means to be in right relationship with the other parts of creation. I think using all three of those gives a person a much deeper and broader perspective on life as a human being, and that only using one of them gives a much more limited view of how to live a good life.